All right, welcome back. I know I'm playing musical chairs a little bit. I'm moving around. Now I'm the moderator. So what we're going to be talking about is the NBA. All right. We have Justin, who switched from being moderator to our NBA specialist. And we got Matt, who is going to be our NBA analyst. All right. So what I first want to ask is what's going on in the 2017 year?
What's happening in 2017 year?
What's happening in the 2017 year?
Go ahead, man. It's all you.
I'll start it off, of course. 2017 to me isn't the best year for basketball, but let's go ahead and start off with the standings in the Eastern Conference. I'll go ahead. Boston is number one, of course, with Kyrie Irving leading the way, leading the charge for them. Then we got Toronto with Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, which is actually a huge surprise to me because
Toronto got the 2 seed?
Yes, they have the 2 seed.
That's
right
crazy.
now.
What?
They have the 2 seed right now, and the funniest part about that is you guys don't care at all.
Don't give a fuck.
Don't care at all.
Act like I care. I don't give a fuck.
And then we got Cleveland, of course, which is the team to beat, and I feel that's going to be the powerhouse for. I think everybody pretty much feels the same way. That's going to be the powerhouse in the East, and then we have Washington, John Wall, who really doesn't have too much help right now, I would say, but anybody under that, with maybe Milwaukee. Milwaukee has Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think that's how you say his name. I'm not sure.
That's Tacumbo.
But he's like third in the MVP race, which I'm actually really excited about. Nice young team, but pretty much anybody under that, we don't care about. You got Ben Simmons, most likely going to be the rookie of the year in the East, but
That's cheating.
yeah, because he's. I do agree with you. That is cheating. He's already been in the. I feel like if you've been in the league for a year and you've been practicing and training with NBA players, and then you come back ready to play again, you shouldn't be in the running.
Now, isn't that what Blake Griffin did?
Yes, that's what Blake Griffin did.
He cheated
and I hated
too.
him
He
too.
cheated
He's
a little bit.
a
All right.
cheater.
So
But
now we're gonna. So that's what's going on in the East, right?
Yeah.
So what's going on in the West? Because I know a lot's going on in the West.
All right, so over in the West, it's kind of the same as last year, just a little bit different. So, of course, Golden State's, I'm pretty sure they're first seed right now. I want to say the Houston would be the second seed. I don't really know. I'm going off the top of my head. Third seed, I want to say would be San Antonio.
Yep.
And fourth seed, I want to say would be Timberwolves.
yes, Minnesota.
Timberwolves.
Oh, that's really good off the top of your
right
head.
under. though.
Yeah, so OKC sitting at 5. So the big stories about the West right now is people are really starting to see how Golden State works without like each one superstar. So
Doesn't
we had a
matter.
time frame where KD was out and Curry took over and everything was all good. We had a time when Curry was out and KD took over. The main thing that a lot of people are starting to see nowadays is that as long as Draymond's in there, it low key works because they have Sean Livingston at like the point and everything will be fine with there.
Klay
But
Thompson's still really good.
yeah,
though.
and Klay Thompson's still doing his thing. I don't think he gets enough credit for that. With Houston's different. Houston's a little bit odd because with Chris Paul being in and out the lineup, you can really kind of see how their record fluctuates. So with Chris Paul in there, their record's pretty good. Without him, it's not that great right
Which is
now.
surprising. I didn't think that he would have that type of effect. 2 ball handlers, but
I mean, apparently it works from all that summer league shit they were doing.
Mhm.
But so Harden's out for a couple weeks right now. They're doing okay. The Rockets just signed Gerald Green to like a rest of the year contract or whatever. People are getting all hyped about that shit. Whatever. That's not nothing. San Antonio's still old. Kawhi is starting to make his way back. He's starting to put those Kawhi numbers up. So and it's surprising if you think about it because he just came back maybe like 2 weeks ago, maybe at most 2 weeks.
That's
And
impressive.
they're still sitting at third
That's
seed.
really
So
impressive.
That's crazy.
It's a system.
The sleeper right now, I think, really is Minnesota. Because if you watch Minnesota, they're not doing anything necessarily. Like, they don't look super duper impressive. Their games, they'll win them by the skin of their teeth. But at the end of the day, Minnesota has the most athletic team. And they actually seem the most durable. I'm not really seeing too many guys missing games. I don't see
they got 48 in a minute.
Jimmy's not missing
Yeah.
nothing. Wiggins not missing nothing.
Yeah.
Cat's not missing nothing. And then low key, they still got Jeff Teague on the team, so they're still out here balling. They're sitting at 4th in the West right now, which says a decent amount.
Okay, hold on. Well, that brings up an interesting point. So what you're saying is these teams that are high ranked, they're missing players, but they're still being able to be in these spots, right?
Yeah.
They're still able, first in the West, first in the East. So my question is the regular season mattering this year? Because from the sounds of it, you have a healthy team just sitting here, and they're still at fifth. You have people missing, and they're in the top ranks. So are you going to see these teams beat these top ranked teams from playing the regular season, or is it going to matter?
I'll start it off with that. I have a very opinionated point on that. I feel
This motherfucker.
the regular season does not matter almost at all.
Really?
I honestly feel like these teams, if they sat there and practice, like these super teams, they sat there and practice and just watch game film instead of playing like 82 games. Maybe they played like 23 games and got couple. They went against the best teams. They would be fine in the playoffs. Like, they would still be in their ranking spots. They would still beat these teams because they're so loaded with these powerful superstars. And it's amazing because like we said, the Toronto Raptors are in second place right now. But we don't compare their superstars to LeBron James and Kevin Love. So even though they're below them, nobody cares. Even though the Celtics, we see the Celtics are the number 1 seed, nobody feels that the Celtics are going to – well, people do feel that the Celtics could beat Cleveland, but I'm saying Isaiah Thomas is on a mission. Y'all shouldn't have traded him. So I don't feel you guys have a chance.
First of all,
we
don't
got
nobody
some
give no
opposite.
fuck about no IT. Okay,
when he put
I
30
don't care about
30
IT right now. I need to see more film on him. You got a couple of games. Yeah, all right, okay, they good, cool. It's fucking Cleveland. The season matters. The reason why the season matters is because, especially in the Western Conference, you'll have teams that'll dip and dive in the standings. So let's say we go over to the East. Milwaukee will dip down to like damn near the 6th seed because they'll win 1, lose 2, win 2, lose 1. Like, they'll do that shit all season because they're not super consistent. But at the end of the day, don't nobody want to play Milwaukee. I guarantee you that LeBron James doesn't want to play Milwaukee. If you look, I'm pretty sure they're in the same division. Milwaukee has a decent-ass record against Cleveland. Now, albeit Cleveland may not have that full powerhouse of a team, but Milwaukee's so young and they're such a wild card that they can get your ass. Brogdon's a decent-ass player. They got a gang of shooters. And you may not be able to outscore Cleveland, but Milwaukee's defense is shitting on Cleveland's defense.
So can I ask you? Are you saying that the regular season matters because you're getting it's talking about the better placement for the playoffs?
The regular season matters. The regular season matters because of the playoffs. It's all about even on the West. Let's say OKC. OKC is a great example. Okay, let's say OKC had a shitty ass first half of the season and they start getting hot at the end. Don't nobody want to play a hot OKC. You don't want to play a hot Paul George. You don't want to play a hot Melo. Let's say OKC gets that 6th seed. Let's say San Antonio gets that 3rd. San Antonio doesn't want to play them.
But I got a question for you, though. How many games will they be hot? Can they be hot for 4 wins?
That's the thing you got to understand, though. With a team like OKC.
Yeah, everybody has to be on fire.
That's not true. That's not true.
Yeah.
If Russ goes in, Russ has 2 hot-ass games. If Russ has a hot game, they're more likely going to win. Switch that off. PG has a hot-ass game. They're probably going to win.
That's not enough to beat the Warriors.
I'm not talking about the Warriors, though.
That's not enough to beat the Rockets.
I'm not talking about the Warriors, though. I'm not talking about the Warriors, though. We're talking about that. Hold on, let me go. We're talking about that 2-3 seed.
Point. Go ahead.
So on the 3rd seed, San Antonio is probably going to want to avoid that OKC team, right?
So they're not tired.
Right, and on the same note, let's say Houston drops. Houston's going to want to avoid that 3rd seed. I really don't see OKC being in the top half of the West. Whoever's on there, and even Golden State. Let's just say something happens where OKC is the 8th seed and Golden State stays the 1. They're not. If they have an opportunity to possibly drop down to the 2nd seed and let Houston get that 1st seed and take on OKC first, it's not necessarily who's going to win, but who do you want to play first? I don't want to play OKC for 7 games the first series.
But Matt, you got a response to that?
Yeah, I got a response to that because I feel they won't make it to 7 games. Like, to beat to beat the Warriors, you have to all be on fire. Because Steph Curry, you saw him put up 45 a couple days ago, last night, I don't remember what. 45, that alone takes out Carmelo and Paul George. That alone, you got to make up for that. And then you also have to be able to guard Kevin Durant. And then if you can't stop Kevin Durant, you also have to stop Klay Thompson. And then Draymond Green's getting in your head the whole game, and he's D'ing up Carmelo. It's too much. With the Rockets, with the way they're playing, they just outscore you. It doesn't matter how good your defense is. You're not guarding a team that's putting up the same numbers as the Warriors.
So are you saying that the matchup doesn't matter because good teams will always do what good teams do?
They always come to me. The good teams always come through in the playoffs.
But
LeBron
hold on. Take this into consideration, though. So it's also about your path to the playoffs. So last year for the Cavs, no, not even last year, the year before last year. Last year they just swept through. But the year before, it was a big debate as far as who are the Cavs going to play in the playoffs? Because they're not going to want to play this team for 7 games, this team for 7 games, and this team for 7 games. So it's exactly. So for Washington, a team like Washington, they really don't want to worry about that. And I understand you're talking about those top tier teams, but let's talk about Golden State right now. If Golden State is sitting at that 1 seed and they play that 8, and they're playing a hot OKC, and OKC, let's say they're going to beat them, but let's say OKC takes them to 7 games. Okay, fuck, that's 7 games. Now the next team they play, maybe they play a San Antonio. Maybe Kawhi's on a fucking tear, and Kawhi's D'ing everybody to fuck up. Golden State will beat them. That's fine, but you just went 7 games. You got one more. Now you got to play the Rockets. Maybe the Rockets get better at defense. Maybe something happens where you have to play another 7, and then at the end of the day, once you make it to the conference finals, where if LeBron has a cakewalk and they swept all the way through, and that's what happened last year, but flip-flop. The Cavs had a cakewalk, and the Warriors swept their way through. It's going to be tough for that team that just played 3 series of 6 games to play that last.
So can I ask one thing real quick? Sorry. So what we getting at is it because the regular season matters more when it's more competitive? In the division. So the West is really competitive right now.
The West is really competitive. The East not so much, but the West is. If anything, we took everything from the East and put it on the West. So yeah, LeBron will make it to the West. I think Boston or Milwaukee can give him a go. I'm not a big LeBron fan. I don't fuck all y'all, regardless. But
I'm not either.
You took everything from the East. You took the heart out of the East and you put it in the West. And yeah, it's fine. But at the end of the day, Golden State made their move the year before last year. They made the move last year. Everyone made their moves this year. If things start gelling, the most athletic team is the Timberwolves. If the Timberwolves were to ever gel, if Thibodeau
athleticism doesn't beat outscoring.
That's very true.
No, if Thibodeau, if I give anybody that kind of props, Tibbs with a Jimmy Butler, a Karl-Anthony Towns, and a Wiggins.
Now he's gonna beat the Warriors.
All right. Let's get our final thoughts. Let's get our final thoughts. All right, Matt, you go ahead. Justin was going for a little bit. Matt, go ahead, get your final thought. Then Justin, you get a little retort and.
Okay, so my final thought is that basically this season amounts to the West. The top 3 teams in the West, that's the only team I feel like we're really, really debating. Like, yeah, there's a spot there, but I don't feel with the team the Cavs have right now in the East that anybody matches up well against them. They might have Milwaukee Bucks who have that Giannis who can D up LeBron a little bit and also put some points up on him, but there's just too much to worry about. They don't have Brogdon. Brogdon's their point guard right now, or I don't know how well he'll match up with Isaiah Thomas, Derrick Rose off the bench, J.R. Smith. It seems like a lot to be asking, especially because these teams aren't really playoff teams. They never go really deep into the playoffs, so they don't have that experience. Mm-hmm. But in the West, I'll give you there's a little bit of the toss-up at the top 3 teams. And OKC, I feel like if they don't get out the first round, I don't want to hear any talk about Westbrook not having a team. I don't want to hear it from anybody.
All right. And then Justin, last few words.
So for me, like I said, I really think that the season matters going into the playoffs because it's all about who has the momentum. Another thing we really didn't go over was trade deadlines and stuff like that. So that's also going to kind of move things around. So Milwaukee can make a move. Cleveland can make a move. But at the end of the day, me personally, if I'm talking about Cleveland, you don't know what you're going to get out of Cleveland. I don't know if D-Wade's going to be available at that time. He gets hurt a lot. I don't know if K-Love's going to be available. I don't know if D-Rose's going to be available. See,
But LeBron will be available.
I know LeBron will be available. But even like IT just came off the injury. You don't know if he'll be available.
Yeah,
but I think the thing that the East has is that they're not so good, and I guess that bleeds not being injured. But they're kind of playing with health versus old ass Cavs, and on the West is always going to be a toss up. I'm not really necessarily worried about that 7th or 8th seed unless it is like a big name or whatever. But like a Portland getting in or Pelicans getting in, you even got to think about that. Like if the Pelicans, if Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins just bam and just got something going on and they legit become the Twin Towers. That's something to worry about.
Scary.
So all these things, they matter. They kind of matter.
All right, and that'll wrap up our NBA talk for today. Yeah. We'll come back to you next week with this heated debate. That was good.
We'll see where this season goes.
Yeah, we'll see where this goes. All right, we'll be back.